Hi, and welcome to another presentation from your business tutor, learning your way, anytime, anywhere. It is often thought if a business knows what its customers want, that they will buy their product. Whilst there is a lot of truth in this statement, as we will find out in this presentation on consumer behaviour, there are a number of other factors which influence the purchasing decisions customers make. So what are we going to learn in this presentation? Well, first of all, we're going to find out what consumer behaviour is, and then we're going on to investigate the different types of consumer behaviour. Okay, let's get started by asking, what is consumer behaviour? Consumer behaviour is about understanding what factors influence the purchasing decisions that customers make. This is really important because if a business knows why customers purchase a product, it will make it much easier for them to achieve high sales. Now, for many of you who have previously studied market segmentation, you will probably see a broad connection to consumer behaviour. Whilst this is correct, it is important to note that consumer behaviour is more refined. This is because market segmentation is about grouping customers together based on certain characteristics they hold, so that products can then be developed to meet the similar needs and wants they have. For example, based on the characteristics age, gender and income, it may be identified that there is a group of female customers aged between 25 and 30 who earn over £25,000 per year who have a similar interest in high fashion clothing. Now, although this is useful to understand, as clothes retailers will now know what clothes to sell to this group of customers, it does not tell them what will trigger or persuade those customers to purchase. This is when consumer behaviour takes over, as it looks at each segment in more detail to work out how customers within each segment make their purchasing decision. So with that point made, let's move on to ask, what are the different types of consumer behaviour? The ways in which consumers make purchasing decisions can be categorised in a number of ways. For example, some customers purchase products based on routine or habit. What this means is they purchase the same product every time without really thinking about or considering alternatives. Why a customer does this is because they've either tried the product before and know they like it, or believe, perhaps because of advertising, that this product is the best one. Whatever the case, this type of consumer would be described as loyal, meaning as long as the business maintains the quality of the product and does not increase the price too rapidly, that customers will continue to purchase it. On the other hand, some consumers only make their purchasing decision after undertaking extensive research and are described as being informed. What this means is that such consumers weigh up the positives and negatives of different products before deciding which one will best suit their needs. As you can imagine, such a process can be rather time-consuming, but should mean the consumer purchases the product that will provide them with the greatest satisfaction. Nevertheless, given how time-consuming this process can be, it is usually the case that such behaviour is restricted to the purchase of expensive items such as a house or a car. What this means from a business perspective is that it is really important to make sure that when selling such items, that it is made clear to informed purchasers how the product meets their needs, as then they will have a better chance of making a sale. A third way in which consumers make purchasing decisions is through what is called impulse. This is when a consumer buys a product on a whim and with very little thought, meaning such purchases could be described as being unplanned. Given this, sometimes consumers look back on impulse purchases with regret as they realise later on that they didn't really need the product. Even so, when impulse purchases are made, they tend to be on items that do not cost a lot and which provide immediate satisfaction, such as buying a chocolate bar displayed at a checkout as you are scanning the other items you went into the supermarket to purchase. Given this, businesses often locate products they believe are bought on impulse in places where customers stop and have a little bit of time on their hands. For example, when queuing to pay for something. A final way in which consumer purchasing behaviour can be described is price conscious, which is when cost is the main consideration in a customer's purchasing decision. What this means is that such consumers are always looking for the best deal on the product they want to purchase, meaning they will wait until the product is discounted or on sale before buying it. Alternatively, if they need the product immediately, they will happily switch between brands based on the prices they charge or the discounts available at any given time. For example, one week they may buy one brand of butter, whereas the next they will buy a different one because it is cheaper. What this means, therefore, is that a business which has lots of customers that are price sensitive must keep a close eye on what their competitors are charging. Otherwise, they could end up losing a significant amount of business. Nevertheless, in the end, it is important to realise one final point about consumer behaviour. And that is, although a customer may be price conscious about one product, they are not necessarily that way about other products they purchase. What this demonstrates is that an individual consumer's behaviour is not fixed or constant, but rather changes based on a number of factors such as the product being purchased, the way they are feeling, time available to make the purchase, or the consumer's personal financial circumstances. Okay, so what did we learn in this presentation? Well, first of all, we found out what consumer behaviour is, and then we went on to explore the different types of consumer behaviour. Understanding what customers are interested in and how and when they make purchasing decisions can be incredibly useful to a business. This is because if a business can create products customers want and then sells them in a way that appeals to their target market, then high sales will be achieved. However, as straightforward as this may sound, it needs to be remembered that identifying consumers' needs and predicting their purchasing behaviour is not an exact science. As such, businesses must be careful that data they collect on customers is treated with a degree of caution, and that before any big decisions are made, supporting evidence is also identified.